One early morning, Gordon awoke with a start. He felt strange, but he could not explain why. His driver, who had come to clean him before he began, reassured him.
It's just ditch water.
He said to Gordon.
It can get into your mechanical workings and make you feel sick.
Gordon was satisfied with that explanation, but what was odd was that he couldn't even remember falling into the ditch. Even though it happened recently, the memory was fuzzy at best.
I'm just exhausted from pulling the express as well.
He chuckled to himself and fell back into an uneasy sleep. He dreamt of vague images, those of the mine and the darkness below. In these images, he felt a part of himself as if viewing the events from above. But he couldn't see anything clearly, but he felt strongly that the memories didn't belong to him. Later that morning, Gordon sleepily brought his train over at Ellsbridge Station. Thomas, who looked equally tired, greeted him with a smile.
Long night?
Thomas asked.
Yeah, I've had some weird, strange dreams,
Gordon replied.
Me too. It was like we were back at the old mines again. But when I awoke, I couldn't actually remember being there at all.
Gordon's eyes widened.
I've had the same dreams. Actually, come to think of it, I can't remember falling to the ditch, much less rescuing you from the mine.
What does that mean?
Asked Thomas.
I don't know. Yeah, we just came back after all. I remember bringing you to the yard before the Queen came to Sodor.
I remember that too, but how come we can't remember any of the events that happened before the Queen visited Sodor?
The two engines decided to find out for themselves. Later that night, the two of them puffed up to the line that leads from Knapford Station. They rounded the bend that led to the mines, but they were met with cautionary signs which read, "Danger! Collapsed mine ahead!"
We'll investigate it from here,
said their crew. They walked past the signs and towards the collapsed mine shafts. They came back a short while later.
What are you doing back so soon?
Asked Thomas.
Nothing to see. Let's just head back.
Thomas and Gordon didn't believe them.
You didn't even take a light with you. How could you have seen anything?
Their crew insisted, but Thomas resisted. He sped through the cautionary signs and stopped at the large gaping pit. When he looked down, he shrieked.
Gordon!
Cried Thomas. Tears rippled from his eyes.
What is it? No, it can't be.
In the pit were two mangled engines. One looked exactly like Gordon, and the other like Thomas.
What? Who are these engines?
Gordon asked. A terrible feeling began stewing deep in his boiler.
I can explain,
a familiar voice said. It was Sir Topham Hatt, who stood next to his car with the light in his hand.
I thought the day would never have come, but alas, here I am. There were you,
he continued solemnly.
What do you mean, were?
Asked Thomas, distress in his voice.
Silly old board. Now for my plan.
When you just fell into the mine, Thomas, you didn't just fall. The mine collapsed beneath you, swallowing you whole. We tried bringing Gordon our strongest engine to lift you with a pulley system, but we misjudged how hollow the shaft was below, and he too fell into the growing shaft beneath the ground. can we be if we're down there?
asked Gordon.
It's a gruesome tale.
Said Sir Topham Hatt.
We had a major scandal due to our lack of judgment. And to save face, we saved Hephaestus. There was a talented engineer from Crew who had moved your identities to your new selves. The engines that you see below you were your former selves. You are prototypes.
Thomas and Gordon didn't know what to say. In their confusion, they began to cry.
That doesn't change who you are now.
Said Sir Topham Hatt.
You two are still one of my useful engines. We have given you a second chance.
And we're avoided of scandal. We understand.
Thomas said in a derisive tone.
Shall we form an alliance? You help me, and I'll help you.
Soon, after the engine slunk home buffer to buffer, everything felt familiar and foreign at the same time. They didn't feel whole anymore, knowing that part of them was rotting away in the bowels of the mine below. They had only hoped that one day, many years from now, these memories would become fuzzy too.